Welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to tell a story about Candy and Lonnie who are crazy about each other. The only problem is that she is married to Roy and he is married to Darlene. Up until now, their love affair has been a secret behind the scenes. But things change when all four friends traveled across the country from Arkansas to Reno, Nevada for a giant truck show. Along the way, big surprises await the spouses. At the beginning of the movie, Darlene's voiceover says, against the backdrop of a map of America, that relationships are like bread, and it seems that they forgot to put yeast in her marriage. The heroine hopes that going on a little road trip with her friends, Roy and Candy, will help mend her relationship with her spouse. Darlene is in the doctor's office and tells him that she is nervous before the trip. Meanwhile, her husband, Lonnie, is in the middle of a new car commercial. As Darlene leaves the office, she notices Roy and asks if the couple is all set for their trip. At that time, Lonnie is at Roy's wife Candy's apartment. The distraught girl throws things and says that everything that is going on is wrong. Meanwhile, Candy's husband is at the doctor's office and informs him of his plans for the trip. Roy visits his wife and reminds her that they have been wanting to have a baby for a long time. The girl refuses under the pretext of packing and says that she would like to make a second wedding. A bewildered Roy agrees to the venture. A dapperly dressed Lonnie shows his friend a first-class car, on which they all go to Reno. Before the trip begins, the heroes stop by Roy's workplace, where he is reprimanded by his boss. A fun trip begins, but is almost immediately interrupted by a patrol. However, it turns out that the cops are good acquaintances of theirs. Lonnie says they're in a bit of a hurry, since they're going on vacation to Reno for the monster truck show. But the lawmen continue to insist that it's against the law to drink while driving, and they receive a bribe in the form of 2 cases of beer. The travelers continue their journey, crossing the borders of different states. At one of the stops, Darlene wants a cocktail. Lonnie resists, but gives in to Candy's pressure. At the checkout counter, Roy is friendly with Darlene, offering to buy them a nice glass to take home. However, Lonnie abruptly cuts the man off, telling him to follow the schedule and not to waste time. The next stop takes place at a roadside cafe in Texas. The location is a contest to eat a giant steak. Darlene's voiceover announces that Lonnie has bet a friend $50 and her husband will do anything for the money. The man has 1 hour to eat this huge piece of meat. Lonnie is smiling quite a bit, as he is confident that he can do it. In the end, the hero copes with the test, but soon he gets sick. His friends and wife take Lonnie to the hospital. At the hospital, the man is given first aid and the travelers stay at a motel. After calling the doctor, Roy says they can drink water and vinegar to make it go away. Leaving a satisfied Lonnie with his winnings, the man heads to the pool where Candy and Darlene are already swimming. The girls discuss each other's marriage, and Candy feels guilty about her relationship with Lonnie. Citing fatigue, Roy's wife leaves, but the man himself still gives Darlene that beautiful glass from the gas station. During the ride, Candy says she's ovulating and they need to stop right away. Lonnie is not happy about this because they are acting out of schedule. Soon the trip continues, and during the next stop, the hero checks in with his plan. Darlene realizes that Lonnie does not want to visit the Grand Canyon. Roy and Candy are supportive of wanting to see the place, but Lonnie insists on sticking to the plan. At the motel, the couple tries again to conceive a child while Darlene and her husband sit outside the room. A frank conversation takes place between the couple. Darlene has become very cold to her spouse and doesn't want him to touch her. Lonnie sensitively tries to talk to his wife to find out the reasons for this attitude. However, when Darlene offers to see a doctor, he says he is not willing to go to the family doctor to solve their problems. This upsets the woman, and she leaves for the streets. The 4 characters sleep in the same bed and continue on the next day, crossing new cities, borders, and states and, humming merrily, finally reach Reno. The metropolis greets the travelers with the lights of many advertisements, which is incredibly impressive to everyone but Lonnie. When Darlene says she would like to attend Tony Orlando's concert, her husband turns her down. Checking into their room, the girls become even more enamored with the suite and the views. Lonnie quietly asks a hotel employee if they have any girls of easy virtue. The girls passionately discuss the famous Tony Orlando while Roy fools around with his buddy. Darlene says the man is her guardian angel of sorts. During the dialogue, Candy's eyes suddenly go dark and her friend comes to her rescue. Lying in the bathroom, the girl jokingly calls Roy names, which upsets the man, and he says that everyone is always trying to humiliate him. Together with Lonnie, he leaves for the bar. Candy tries to help her friend sort out her relationship with Lonnie, but the girl asks not to talk about it anymore and leaves. Meanwhile, the men go down to a fancy establishment, and there a pleasant and seductive girl starts talking to them. Lonnie looks at the pretty girl with undisguised interest and then shares with Roy his worries about Darlene. Candy's husband tries to support his buddy, but he is extremely pessimistic. Roy says that Darlene is a beautiful woman and her spouse shouldn't go left. Meanwhile, Candy and her friend look at the couple dressed up as Red Riding Hood and the Wolf and say they want a costume wedding too. Taking advantage of Roy's absence, Lonnie tries to woo the pretty girl sitting next to him, but she replies that she's out of his league. Upset at his failure, Lonnie talks to Roy. The men discuss feminists, and Roy reveals that he sometimes even suspected his spouse of nymphomania. After learning that Candy is always so passionate, Lonnie stares into the void in frustration. Meanwhile, the walking friends see a fortune teller's shop and decide to go inside. Suddenly, the fortune teller says that Candy is pregnant, and the girl rushes to verify it with tests. Darlene informs Roy about it. Meanwhile, a narcissistic Lonnie says that Candy is pretending to be passionate for nothing, but the girl parries by saying that she just feels so much better with Roy. All the characters eagerly await the result of the test. It turns out that the fortune teller was real, as Candy has 2 stripes. Everyone gets overjoyed, and immediately go to the casino to celebrate this wonderful news. Only Lonnie behaves reservedly and even unpleasantly, spoiling the general atmosphere of happiness. Back home, Candy and her husband goof around and continue to enjoy the pleasant news. Meanwhile, Lonnie gives his wife a piece of jewelry, as he has won a lot at the casino. The bracelet and compliments make Darlene very happy, and she kisses her husband. The couple finally overcome an obstacle that has lasted about 2 years. In the morning, Candy slyly congratulates them on the occasion. The shared bliss is disturbed by a worried Roy. The man says that the doctor called him and informed him that he can't have children. Candy laughingly says it can't be, but suddenly looks fearfully at Lonnie. Darlene notices this and asks what is going on between them. A crying Candy apologizes to her friend while Lonnie tries in vain to justify herself. Candy runs off to another room and Darlene follows her. Lonnie apologizes to Roy, but the friend leaves the room in a frenzy but soon returns. The offended characters confront their abusers, accusing them of betrayal. Panic and anger overwhelm the characters when Lonnie suddenly proposes a simple swap. Roy and Darlene must also go into seclusion, and then everything will work out. Such a suggestion makes the resentful wife even more furious, and she almost lashes out at the hapless Lonnie. A weeping Candy continues to apologize in vain, and everyone almost forgets about Roy. With her belongings packed, Darlene runs out of the room. It is Roy's turn to air his grievances and thoughts to his wife and friend. In response to Lonnie's sarcastic remark, Candy slaps him in the face and runs to Darlene. The angry woman doesn't want to listen, but she has to. Candy reveals that Lonnie originally came to her because he didn't know how to solve his problems with his wife. And even when the heroine tried to discuss things, Darlene pretended to be happy. Candy aggressively convinces her friend that she should be happy, and something of an elevator battle ensues between them. The men hear them screaming and run the stairs to separate the wives. The heroines literally fall out of the elevator and continue their confrontation. Roy grabs Candy and drags her into the elevator while Darlene steals Lonnie's wallet and tries to run away with it. The heroine throws a bunch of money in the fish tank, gets in Lonnie's car and drives off. A frustrated Roy is getting drunk at the bar when last night's hottie approaches him and strikes up a conversation. A distraught Lonnie wanders around the room while a crying Candy sorts through photos of them together. Meanwhile, Darlene pays off Lonnie's card for a manicure, new clothes, a haircut, and heads to Tony Orlando's for the evening. A tearful Candy sees her husband dancing at a bar with another girl. While there, Tony notices the lonely, charming Darlene and sings a song just for her. When Lonnie comes to Candy's to talk, the girl tells him that she saw Roy at the bar with another lady. The man asks what she looked like and tells her it was only a girl of easy virtue. This makes Candy even more upset, and suddenly Roy himself shows up in the room. After hearing his wife complain about the beautiful woman in the bar, the hero says that this lady treated him more humanly and sympathetically than his wife and best friend. The newly emerging quarrel is interrupted by the appearance of the enchanting Darlene. Kissing Roy, she recounted what had happened at Tony Orlando's party. Before going to bed, the girls reconciled and fell asleep in each other's arms. The next morning, Darlene sent a hotel employee to bring breakfast for her friends, while speaking very unflatteringly of her spouse. In the note she left, she suggested they meet at the show. No matter how hard Lonnie tried to apologize, Darlene wouldn't listen to him. Suddenly, the hero noticed his own car at the show. It turned out that in fact, Darlene decided in this way to arrange additional advertising for her spouse. Darlene's voiceover reports that the friends have decided to leave everything that happened in Reno. Roy forgave his spouse and said he didn't mind becoming a father, especially since he was infertile, but it would be better if Lonnie was just a donor. Realizing his mistakes, the man brought Darlene to see the Grand Canyon. After a while, the couple Roy and Candy had 3 children, and now no one doubted that the doctors were wrong. Lonnie introduced his wife into the family business of selling cars, and this miraculously affected the self-esteem and behavior of the heroine, and eventually the relationship between the heroes got better. This is the end of the movie. Thank you all for watching this video to the end. Give this video a like. Write in the comments what you think about this movie, and see you in new videos.